my name's Sarah and I'm just going to take you through a quick demo of our online platform. So what you can see here is the dashboard view when you first log in as a teacher. So this is a teacher demo account that we're looking at. So in biology, if we head over to the top left corner, this is where we can open up the table of contents to navigate to different parts of the textbook. And you can see here, if you're in the senior science series, any other resources you're using. So for example, physics or chemistry or the year 12 versions of everything will all eventually be populated here as well. You'll only see the ones that your school is using there. So they'll all just be listed together. So chapter 2 is our sample chapter. So this is the one that's available at the moment. If we head to the introduction, I'll just take you through what some of the content looks like in a digital format. So you can see here the same things that are in the print book, the syllabus mapping, the glossary terms, and we've also got this knowledge check that students can do to revise prior knowledge. So these are quiz questions that are drag and drop, sometimes fill in the blank, sometimes multiple choice. These all come from our Stage 4 and 5 Cambridge resources. They're all auto-marked, so when students check their answers, they'll get an immediate result. It'll tell them what they got right, what they got wrong, and what section they can actually revise for any of that material, including the ones they got correct. So these links here will actually navigate to a separate prior knowledge course that students can access that comes directly from our Stage 4 and 5 resources. So they don't need to have a subscription to those resources. If they have a subscription to Biology Year 11, they'll still be able to view all of this, and it will view all of that content that they would see in the chapter or the specific section from Stage 4 and 5. So it's a really, really handy revision tool that will also be available in physics and also in all of our Year 12 titles. In Year 12, a lot of these sections might link back to Year 11 if it's relevant content, or it might be also Stage 4 and 5, depending on the topic. So we can navigate through up here to different sections. So you can see the concept map appearing, which is also at the start of each of our chapters in the print book. And then the actual content in each of these. So each section is its own different page here. So as we navigate through, this is all exactly what you will see in the book. We do have videos embedded with the content as well, so students can watch them directly in the content. As we scroll through, there'll be rollover glossary terms as well, so that they can view the definition. Then if I go down to a practical, so the pracs are also in the print book, and they all appear here. And there's also formats where you can download them in Word files. So any format you can think of, it'll all be provided there. The practicals also do have these pop-up teacher notes. They're called teacher notes, but they are sometimes lab tech notes as well. So it just depends on what type of prac it is. Sometimes in this case, they'll have example data that you can use as well if a student's absent, or you want them to compare this to the data they got, or you just want it to be theory-based if you're not able to actually conduct the prac in school time. There'll also be sample responses in here for any questions like the discussion section in most of the pracs. If we go down to the bottom of the section, you'll see the exam practice boxes that Evan mentioned. The video for these is in the header of each one, and it'll open a pop-up where students can watch directly. There is also shortcuts that they can use to navigate to different parts of any given section. Worksheets can be downloaded here. So this includes the worksheets that are in the digital workbook that can be downloaded all together, or they can be downloaded separately here. You'll also see the review questions from the print book. These are also can be answered digitally in this separate review tab here. So I'll go through that in a moment. And the practical, like I mentioned here, this is the download version that you can get of the Word version, so that if you do want to modify it at all, you can do that. And the videos can be accessed as well as pop-ups. So if I navigate to the next section, which is the quiz. So this is an auto-marked quiz that students can complete. You can see here sometimes the answers are showing just because we are in a teacher account, so there's a bit more flexibility on what's visible. This can be assigned as a separate task as well, which is really handy being auto-marked. The review tab, like I mentioned, will go to the section review questions from the print book. They all come with these workspaces that do have math symbols enabled, which is really handy for physics, not as relevant for biology, but you'll always find this in all of our science and maths titles will have this functionality. They can also use the text field, which means that they can draw tables in biology, which is super handy. They can also draw if they're going to sketch a diagram, or just upload their own file as well. Now you'll see this check answer button here. The teacher can decide whether or not this is enabled or not. So you can turn this off and the students won't see that and you can mark their work directly, or you can turn it on so that they can self-assess and view the answer themselves. So it just depends on what kind of independent study you want them to have, and you can change that at any time as well. This resources tab appears with all of the sections, and this is just another place where you can download all of the different resources that we've just covered. So if we navigate to the chapter review, there's a couple of extra things in here. So there's the checklist that appears in the book, which also can be downloaded. So there's a printer-friendly version of that will have an extra column on the end so students can check off questions as they answer them. The questions in the book, which are linked from that checklist, all of the multiple choice questions are auto-marked if they do them online, or you can use the download file. And the extended response exam style questions are all a workspace, the same as the section review. So there's pretty much 3 different places to access these sorts of questions. So they're all in the print book. You can access them digitally here, or if you download the questions, you can do them in a worksheet style, kind of printer-friendly version as well. And again, the resources tab is just showing the various things that can be downloaded for a given section. So some of the learning management features that go with all of this content as well. So we do have the assessments tab here. This is where you would navigate to if you're creating a custom practice exam, like Evan mentioned. This demo account doesn't have the data there to show you today, but this is where you would then select create and you would be able to create a custom exam using all of the different filters like focus area, difficulty, and so on. So one of the other really great tools that we've got is Task Manager. So if I go to this is where we can actually set a custom task sequence for a group of students. So what I can do is it's just a drag and drop functionality. I can drop in, for example, a section, which is just referring to content. So I can choose this for whatever section I'm in, whichever one I want to go to. It will just default the default selection that it shows you will be whatever section you were just in. So because we were in chapter 2, it's got that here, but you can just navigate wherever you need to when you're assigning it. So if I insert a section here, we might then say we want students to do a quiz. So this is one of the auto-marked quizzes from the sections. Let's say we want to start with 2A. So when you're assigning a quiz, because it's auto-marked, there is an option with this little symbol here to set alternate pathways for your students. So if I select this, I might say, well, if students get 70% or more, I want them to be on a different pathway. So this will create this pathway here for students that get over 70% and this pathway if they get under. So we might say, okay, we want the higher achievers to do a worksheet in the next section if we want them to move on. So you can go ahead to the next section and then find a worksheet that you want them to do. So this will include files that are downloaded as worksheets. So that's why you're seeing practicals and questions in this option. And we might say the students that get under that, we want them to do a video, for example. So you can see that it's sort of a bit infinite in really what you can assign and how you want to customize it. You can also put custom activities in. So this is just kind of like a blank activity for if you've got external links or a specific kind of classroom activity or discussion you want them to do, you can put your content in there. This is also where if you create any custom exams in this assessments tab, this is where they would appear and you can drop them into your sequence as well. So obviously we don't have any in here, but they would appear as a list if you've got multiple. The great thing about this, so when we assign it, we can schedule it. So if we wanted to do this in the future, rather than it appearing in student accounts immediately, you can. You can also assign it to multiple or single classes and edit exactly which students see it. So if you've got someone who's away that day, you can remove them. So when I click assign, you'll get a pop-up to confirm that that's been successful. And you'll see here the templates options as well. So you can create templates and keep reusing the same sequence if you really like what you've set up. And you can share that between teacher accounts in your faculty as well if you're all using the same resources. So finally, the teacher resources, this is where you can go to download all of the different files that are available. So your worksheets, for example, will be here as PDFs that are print ready. Or you can download a zip file that will have all of them in Word format with the answers included. So if you do want to just download them all in bulk and then sort them on your own computer, you can do that as well. That's the same for the tests as well. So obviously we're just looking at a sample here, but you would have everything from the resource appearing here. All of your planning documents are here. So the syllabus mapping, for example, teaching programs. There will also be PowerPoint summaries available here eventually, and a couple of other bits and pieces as well. So if I navigate back to the dashboard, finally, so just to recap here, you can see all the different links of where we just were, navigate into classes, which is also on the side pane here, the assessments you've created. So if you do create a custom exam, and the tasks. So this is the task that we've just created. And then at any point, if you are struggling and you do need more support, you can go down to this bottom right-hand corner to access platform support there. If you are experiencing any issues, this is where you can go to find support articles and also to contact the team.